Well, hello, everybody. It is once again another fabulous Monday. Monday. So I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Welcome to Miss G's Ladies Lounge. I am your host, Miss G, Gwen Finley, and I'm so glad that you stopped by on today to join in with us. And I hope that you're ready to hear from my guests and have a wonderful time with us on today. We are going to share with my guest that I have with me today, and we're going to share some of her testimony. And we're also going to just allow her time to just express some of the things that she has, taken the time to journal out and let you know about her experiences. So our guest today is none other than Keisha Garrett. I'm going to bring her on in just a few minutes. I'm going to read you her little paragraph that she sent me. She didn't send me her real bio, but that's okay because I know a little bit about her. So I'm going to ad lib a little bit with that. But I do want to make sure that we do what we always do, and that's to start off with a word of prayer, because we do know, like yesterday was Resurrection Sunday. I'm sorry. Yesterday was Resurrection Sunday, and I hope you all had a wonderful Resurrection weekend. I hope that you remembered to take time out and to celebrate our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for his wonderful, wonderful sacrifice that he made for us. So on today, we're going to talk about even that power in the blood. Oh my goodness. We're going to talk about that, what the blood does for us. All right. So, Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all things. We thank you for the sacrifice that you made for us on the cross. We thank you, oh God, and we trust you. We believe you. We give you praise on today. We thank you for my guest. I pray that you bless her abundantly. I pray that you will bless all those that stop by to take a moment to join in the conversation with us and support us on today. In Jesus' name, I pray. Thank God. Amen. All right. So that's my intro that I love to give. I love to do a nice little prayer. They're already popping in. Hey, Geraldine. Hey, Ella Betty Mitchell. Hey, hello. We're so glad to have you here. So they're already popping in, ready to hear from this young lady. So, hey, I'm not going to prolong it, but let me tell you a little bit about, Keisha. She didn't put any of this on here because she's just the very humble type young lady, but she is a very, very talented young lady. She has the gift as a makeup artist. She sometimes she actually works sometimes on New York Fashion Week. I mean, she is just, she's fabulous. How about that? She's also a photographer in hiding. So she's coming out soon, I'm guessing, doing a little more photography. It may be just a hobby, but that's okay too. We love that. So today we have Keisha. Now she has added to her list as an author, and we are here to celebrate her today, her achievement as an author, and also to just embrace her with her story on today. And she says, my book entitled Survivor is a story of my journal with breast cancer. I take the readers on a journey with me on my process and personal thoughts of how God healed me. My only purpose is for individuals to know that God is a mighty healer. This book was mandated by God for me to write. It is my first book that I've written and edited solely. Wow. The book was prophesied to me and confirmed in a vision and a dream. That's how I know it was mandated by God. He healed me for a reason, and I will continue to shout that as long as I live of his goodness and mercy. So if you will just take a moment and just welcome my guest here today. Oh my goodness, Keisha. Hey,
Hi. Hi, guys. Hi,
how
Gwen.
are you? Hello. How you feeling?
I'm doing good, thank you. I just had surgery about 2.5 weeks ago.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'll get
Okay.
into that after we discuss Survivor. But thank you so much for the opportunity, of course, to share my story. And I like what you stated that, I really didn't send you a bio of myself because this purpose is not about me. I don't care.
Right.
I mean, Keisha KG, that is what it is. But this is not about me right here.
Right.
So that's why I purposely did not send you a bio of myself.
I know. I know.
And I
I know.
remain 100% humble on that. This is all about
Yeah.
God healing. Yeah.
I know that's how you are. I understand,
Yeah.
and I can respect that. I really do.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful when people can allow God to take center stage and know and understand their purpose in the whole matter. And so we're just so glad that you joined us on today. And again, like I said, she's so humble. So she has been my makeup artist a couple of times, and
Yeah.
um, in the midst of all of that, she's never complained. I didn't even know. She told me some things, and I think because she said it so, just, oh well, and it just went in and it went out. And then
Hmm.
when I saw her on, I was like, wait a minute. And I said to her the next time I saw her, I said, well, what, you didn't tell me. She said, I did tell you. She probably put it in there, slid it on out. So just like that, she's just remaining humble. So we're so glad to
Hmm.
have you with us. We had a few more people to join in. Let me
Great.
just again welcome to our streaming audience. I don't know what's happening here. What is going on here? Okay, welcome to. Oh,
Maybe
everyone.
people are coming in.
Yeah, am I still sharing my screen?
Yes. Hmm.
I am. I don't know why. I thought I turned it off. Let's see. No, I'm not sharing the screen.
Well, I'm
I don't.
sharing mine on my page. Well, your screen on my page. So,
Oh yeah, but yeah, okay. So I'm not sharing my background screen.
no.
Okay. Okay. I'm trying to make sure I'm not sharing that background screen. Okay,
Yes.
so we have also that have joined us is Marie, my
Mhm.
cousin from Florida. Hey, and I've
Hi,
got
Marie.
that has joined in. Hey,
Hi,
cousin.
Leslie.
Leslie. And Leslie is my cousin from Chicago. She's
Okay.
also recently endured something similar. So I'm glad that she
Wow.
joined today.
Yes. Thank you for joining
Um,
in, Leslie.
and here's your sister. Here's your
Yes,
sister.
Joy. Hey,
Your
Joy.
face, your number one supporter, right?
Yes,
Hey,
yes, yes.
Joy.
Joy is my number one
Welcome.
supporter. And then I have some friends of mine. Of course, my lovely cousin Shamanda, she's
Yes,
watching. She was like one of my
I
inner
remember her.
support group.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
my really good friend Kathy Jefferson Menz, she's watching. So thank you so much, Kathy, for joining in and participating. And of course, to everyone who's
Yes,
here.
thank you so
Yeah.
much. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So listen, we're going to get right into it. First, before we start with that, I tried to give a little bit of what you were doing, like
Mhm.
what your normal days and your normal life was all about, because that's important in the transition of everything. So let's just tell us a little bit about how you were working in your makeup artistry and things like that. And yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I was busy. I had just wrapped up New York Fashion Week in September of 2019.
Hmm.
Just day to day life, working every day. I have two sons, so I have a grown son actually, and then of course my baby Cam. He's not a
Hmm.
baby no longer, but
Right.
just work, school with him, and that's it. And doing my thing with photography and fashion, with New York Fashion Week, and I participated in Miami Fashion Week that year. So I actually had a full year that year in
Mhm.
2019. So it was really, really, it was my norm. I went
Mhm.
in for my routine scheduled checkup, my annual checkup, which is
Mhm.
typically around October of every year. I go in for my
Mhm.
mammogram yearly. And
Mhm.
I just went in, had it done, and about 3 days later, they called me back, and the nurse says, "Hi, we need you to come back in because your results came back abnormal." So I'm like,
Mhm.
abnormal? What does that mean? And she said, oh, it just may not be nothing, we just need you to come back in for a second look. And she indicated, you may have to stay. The process is we'll do a second mammogram on the breasts that we saw the abnormalities in. Okay. From there, if we still see it there, then we will do what's called an ultrasound on your breasts. And for those who've had children, know exactly what an ultrasound is, where they take that wand and with the jelly and, go over it and see if it's there. And she said, and if that pans out, to something, then we may have to do a biopsy. So just plan to stay a little bit longer than, normal. So I said, okay, I didn't think nothing of it, whatever. I've never had an issue with my breasts. Okay. I've always had what they call is what they refer to as dense breasts, which typically a lot of Black females have that issue. So our breast tissue could be kind of dense, a lot of calcium buildup in there. So, that's the norm for us, right? So I'm thinking, oh, it's just calcium buildup or, high dense breast. It's okay. So nevertheless, I went in for that. My cousin went with me and, we was thinking it'll be okay. Everything is fine. So I went in, had the second mammogram done. And from there, the lady sent me back to the waiting room and she called me back for an ultrasound. So I go in for the ultrasound in a different room. So I see the ladies find out exactly, how you're nosy with the ultrasound. You want to see what's on the screen, even though you can't read it. I mean, you may be able to read it, Gwen, because you're in the medical field, but us regular people, we can't read stuff like that. We just being nosy, okay?
That's all right.
So, but what got me is when she then took her ruler out. She took like a little mini ruler out once she found the spot again, and she measured it. Okay, so I'm like, well, what is that she's measuring? But of course, they're not at liberty to talk to you about anything, right? They're just the ultrasound tech, so it's only limited information that they can provide to you, right?
Right.
So then she has me waiting.
You know what she was getting ready to do.
I'm sorry.
I said she should have told you what she was getting ready to do.
Well, she did. She did. Oh, okay. But my point is, and I kind of reiterate this in the book, is that, of course, as an ultrasound tech, they see this day in and day out. So she knows what she's looking for and what she's looking at, right? But she cannot tell you, the patient, what it is, right?
Right.
So she explained what she was about to do and what she was doing, but so she measures it and then she asks me to just sit down and wait for like 15 minutes and she's going to go get the radiologist. So I'm like, get the radiologist for what? I just come in for a second mammogram. That's it. You got to take a day out of this. So I call my mom and my mom.
Before you go any further, so you had to go in, since you had that dense tissue, you have had to go in before for second mammogram?
No. Oh, okay. This is my first time going in for a second mammogram.
Okay.
I've always received that little pink letter they send you, letting you know, there's no signs of breast cancer. However, you do show signs of dense tissue.
Okay. Because they scared me with that once. And I couldn't leave. And they said
me. Yeah.
They wouldn't even let me leave. And so I was
really
like, what? And they said, and I had never heard that before. And I've had it done several times before and since. And no one ever said that to me, but maybe 2 or 3 times afterwards. And so they made me stay there and do another one right then and there.
Oh,
and so
I see.
Very nervous. So that's why I was asking you, had that happened to you before?
Okay. No, ma'am. Not at all.
Okay.
Nope. Not at all.
Okay.
So I called my mom while I was waiting for the radiologist, and I'm like, hey, I said, they're about to have the radiologist come in. And she's like, okay, what is the text saying? I said, she didn't say nothing. She just said, she had to have the radiologist come in and he'll, talk with me. So the radiologist then comes in and, my mom asked, she said, well, is your cousin in the room with you? I said, no, she's out in the waiting room. they wouldn't allow her back in. Now, mind you, this is pre-COVID, okay? This is in 2019. So, she said, well, okay, I'll call your cousin then and, talk to her directly and just let me know as soon as the radiologist finish exactly what he did, okay? So the radiologist comes in and explains to me that he needs to do what's called a biopsy immediately, meaning that he needs to take a long needle around this long, literally, numb the area, and he needs to pull a sample of the tissue of the infected area, okay? This issue that they found was only on my left breast. It was not in both, it was only in the left breast, okay? So he only biopsied the left breast, right? So he pulled that out, pulled the little tissue, then he insert these little metal clips, like little paper clips, inside the breast through like a little straw type thing. And that places a spot so that in the event they have to go back in, they know exactly where to go to, okay? That process probably took about 15, 20 minutes, probably a little shorter than that. He numbed the entire area of the breast and pulled me back up. And the ultrasound tech who was in there, she gave me a pink little card. And she says, you have your readings every Tuesday at 9 a.m. So the reading is the results of the biopsy. So you would need to appear back the following Tuesday at 9 a.m. to meet with the radiologist. So I left out of there. And I was still confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was still confused. That was a lot.
Nobody actually came and sat down and really went through what was really happening. Right. I know he talked to you, but they didn't really go through what was actually happening.
They told me step by step, but they didn't. I guess they didn't do it because they don't want to scare the patients away. You got a lot of patients, and I didn't realize this after I went through my process. There's a lot of females who, for one, do not get mammograms because they are afraid of the unknown.
Right.
So can you imagine, a typical female who it probably does not have that faith or that stand, and they probably just won't show back up just because they're scared or the unknown?
Right. Yeah. Leslie is saying it's scary just being there, and she said
absolutely
also that she had to go back 3 different times.
Wow.
I thought I could have had both of you guys on at the same time so that you could talk a little bit about
stories, right? Yeah.
Because she did go through as well, and she also, is a very vibrant woman. Some people just are so vibrant. When you see them, you're like, wow. But then one thing that I love watching you all is that you're still, showing a great attitude in the midst of it all. You know what I'm saying?
Your attitude is everything. Your attitude is everything. Yeah.
And I worked in the oncology office, and I saw the difference in people also.
Absolutely. Yeah. Your attitude is everything.
Yeah. So let me ask you, when you found out, you said this is how you found out, and this was, you said 2019?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when you found out, what was your just be just as transparent as you can and tell us what was your first thought when you did get confirmation of what was actually going on?
My first question to the radiologist was, am I going to live? That was my first question. And he said, yes, you're going to live. He says, it's early. We got it early. That's a good thing. And we can take care of it. Everything else that he has said in that room, it was all a blur. I don't know.
Was it stage
after that?
Was it stageable?
Yes, it was stage 2.
Wow.
It was stage 2. Yes.
Wow. I just looked at this. So
it was the size of a dime when he found it. Wow.
Yeah,
Chief
12 biopsies.
Apostle, 12 biopsies.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank God, all
Thanks
were
be to
benign.
God. All
Mhm.
benign. um, Yeah,
Yeah.
it was stage 2. It was the size of a dime.
Okay.
And the second thing that he told me, which was the most important thing probably, was that my lymph nodes looked really good. So that was a good sign. At that point, I did not understand what that meant,
Right.
because everything is,
Yeah.
they give you so much information, Gwen. I mean, as he's telling me the diagnosis, his nurse is handing me this thick pamphlet with all these
Mhm.
brochures and everything. It's just so overwhelming. And she's like,
Yeah.
you got to do this. You got to call this. You got to, I'm like, huh? What? Wait, huh?
Yeah.
Of course, my mom and my family, they were asking him questions. Some questions
Mhm.
he could answer, but some he could not, because again, he's just the radiologist. His only job is to really read the reports. So from the lab.
Right. Right.
So he really wasn't at liberty to go into full depth of
Right.
everything, the process. But that's he said it's, you're gonna live, and that's the only thing I heard from there. Everything else was a blur.
Everything else was a blur. It's
Yes.
understandable.
Hmm.
Very understandable. So at what point, when you met with the physician, did you, or the oncologist, I'm sure you met with an oncologist,
Hmm.
at what point did you meet with the oncologist and begin to see that there was, as you said, hope for life?
So I can't speak about everybody's process, because I know everybody's process is different, with different cancers, right? My process personally was, I had to meet with my breast cancer surgeon. So my breast cancer surgeon orchestrated the entire plan,
Hmm.
basically. Okay. I met with her first. How the breast cancer surgeon is assigned is through your OBGYN.
Okay.
Once you're diagnosed with breast cancer, they send the information over to your OBGYN, and they
Mm.
ask your OBGYN, what breast cancer surgeon are you to be assigned to?
Right.
He or she will pick your surgeon out for you. He
Mm.
assigned me to one of the best in Richmond. Okay.
Awesome.
I met with her, and um, it's crazy. In the chapter of my book, I believe that's called, that specific chapter. And I promise you, I tear up every time I read this specific chapter. Okay. Um,
Hmm.
that chapter is actually called, let me see, bear with me for a moment. Down. Okay.
Okay.
DOWN.
Hmm.
um, because I had I just automatically assumed that I was going to be given a surgery date, the first date that I met with her,
Okay.
that she would give me a date for surgery. She would take it out. Boom. I can go back to life as usual. That's
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
But
So
it
I was
was
sadly
lame, huh?
mistaken. Yeah. My first meeting, my mom and my cousin was there with me as support. And first thing I says, okay, so when can we schedule surgery? And she's like, no, you can't schedule surgery immediately. And I'm like, why not? And she said, because that's not the process. I said, well, what is the
Right.
process then? And she says, well, the process calls for you to go through a few months of chemotherapy and radiation and then
Okay.
surgery.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I was trying to find my YouTube over here because someone, I have people commenting on YouTube as well. So I wanted to
Oh,
make
okay,
sure
no
we
problem. Yeah.
got their comments. And so it's not that I'm not paying attention to
Oh,
you. I
you're
hear you
fine.
loud
Yes.
and clear. So you met with the surgeon, you said,
Yes.
and she wouldn't give you a date.
Right. She says, no, that's not the process. The process is that you have to have chemotherapy, and then, we'll check and see how it is from there after we do a few months of chemotherapy, and then we'll do the surgery, and then you'll do radiation. So I did not realize that it was a process.
So,
And the
yeah.
reason why it is a process and they just cannot go in and do surgery immediately is because you have to address the cells in your body,
Hmm.
right? Because
Hmm.
cancer, all that
Therapy.
is just a bunch
Farm,
of
yeah,
unnecessary cells, right?
farm stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. So you can remove the cancer, but then what about the cells?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So she said that, she would assign me to an oncologist and who specializes in breast cancer at the same hospital, and that oncologist their office will contact me to schedule my consult. Everything went by so quick. I mean, they were on it. Everything went so quick.
Hmm. So let me ask you, how long did all of this process actually take? Because you say you did the chemo, you did the surgery, you did the
Mhm.
radiation,
So
and you had the pre stuff that was going on. So overall, how long did all of this take for you?
from November 2019, they inserted I got diagnosed November 5th, 2019, okay? By the end of the last week of November of 2019, they had did the first surgery, which is to insert the portacatheter. So a portacatheter is it's a device that's like a circle, and they
Right.
place it in your upper right hand chest, and that's
Hmm.
how they administer chemo to you. So that's a surgery right there by itself. Okay, they
Hmm.
inserted that. The Monday right after Thanksgiving was my first day of chemo treatment. So that shows you how extremely fast they were moving. First day
Right.
of chemo was that Monday right after Thanksgiving. I had chemo from there up until April 13th of 2020.
Wow.
So this coming April 13th will be
Yeah.
1 year celebration
Yeah.
of ringing
Awesome.
that chemo bell. Yes. And then from after April 13th, when I completed chemo, um, they scheduled my surgery. I had what's called a lumpectomy. So there's two
Mhm.
separate types that you can do. You can do either a mastectomy or a lumpectomy. A lumpectomy is all what I just needed, only because it was just isolated in that left breast.
Okay.
um, that was one factor. Number two, the second factor was my lymph nodes were never touched, which was an awesome thing. Because lymph nodes, they transfer throughout it transfer things throughout your body. Okay.
Right.
So in
Mhm.
the event, if my lymph nodes was touched and it was considered transferred somewhere else, that would have
Mhm.
been a whole nother issue right there. Okay. But
Mhm.
it was never touched. Thank God. Right.
God, thank
And then the third factor was they look at your genetics.
Mhm.
So they do a blood test of genetics to determine if there's any direct bloodline of breast cancer within your direct bloodline that would put you like in a high risk category
Mhm.
to determine if it'll come back or not. Okay.
Wow.
So those are
So
the factors. So that's why I only needed a lumpectomy. So the lumpectomy, that process for that is just the removal of the tissue where the mass was at, the surrounded the area of the mass,
mhm.
and she took out additional tissue out the breast too, just to be on the safe side.
Absolutely.
And I finished that surgery was in June. And then
Mhm.
after June, I did about 4 or 5 weeks of radiation daily. So I wrapped up everything, literally everything, July 31st, 2020.
Wow.
I was
Mhm.
completely done.
So, kill the technician right here.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay. So, yeah, that was you ringing the bell. That was
Yeah.
all of that. Yeah. Listen, I want to talk about Survivor.
Okay.
So, show us your cover. I don't have my copy yet. So, yay.
This is
So,
the book.
Survivor, the book.
Yes. Survivor.
Um,
Yes.
because you gave a pretty good story, and we don't want to give everything away. But I know
Right.
that there's a whole lot more in that book that than
Absolutely.
just the story. So tell us. about Survivor?
Wow. So Survivor came. So when I had completed everything, my entire treatment, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, some came to my head and was like, you need to write a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
About this. And I entertained it for a little bit. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to write a book. And
Oh,
then I was like, you know what? I can't, I'm not an author. I can't write a book. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to even set myself up like that. Right.
wow.
I'm a makeup artist. I'm not an author. So that was probably around July, August after I wrapped up radiation when I had that thought
Mm-hmm.
process. And I
Mm-hmm.
never entertained it again. Okay.
Wow.
And one thing about me, Gwen, I'm so private, such a private person.
Right.
Nobody on Facebook knew. Only people who knew was those who were my inner circle, who I
Mm-hmm.
had showed, of course, given that information to, but nobody knew. And my
Mm-hmm.
sister Joy would always tell me, you need to share your testimony with others. And I'm like, no, I'm private. She was like, well, God didn't heal you to be private about it. So
That's
she
right.
would always remind me that you need to share your testimony. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Never do it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
finally, um, her pastor sent for me to call her. Okay.
Okay.
So and when the prophet calls for you, it's like, okay, what did I do now? Like,
Right.
what did I do? So I called her directly, and this was in December, actually,
Okay.
out of nowhere. And mind you, I hadn't talked to her or nothing, like, during my entire process. And the only reason, why she knew about it was because my sister Joy had told her about it. Okay, which was fine.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I called her, and she said, she said, I've been praying for you and you were on my mind. I said, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And she said, the Lord told me to tell you, you need to write the book. And I
Mm.
was like, wow, write the book? And she was like, yeah, you need to write the book. And you know what I'm talking about? Mind you, I had never discussed
Verbal.
the book with anybody. Okay.
Wow.
So we got the phone, and I said, Lord, what does that mean? I don't understand. Write the book. What book? Write what?
Right.
So
Yeah.
that same night, not making this up. I'm not making this up. That same night, in my vision, my dreams,
Mm-hmm.
a really, really close friend of mine had appeared in my dreams. And of course, he's deceased now. But we were really, really close. And I was walking down a street downtown, and I saw him walking in the middle of the street. And the light, it was only one street light that followed his every move. And now, mind you, I'm like on the side of the street, on a street corner, and I'm watching him walking. Everywhere he walked, that light, that one street light followed his every track.
Wow.
Okay. So I called his name and several times, and he just kept walking. So finally, he just stood still, and he turned around and looked at me, and he had a white sweater on with black pants, black boots, and in his sweater were the title Survivor written across his shirt.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my confirmation right there. So I remember waking up the next morning, like literally in tears. I was in tears, literally,
Yeah.
because I just couldn't believe it. The dream was just so
That was
real
the
and vivid
same
and
night.
clear. You
And you said that
know,
was the same night you spoke to.
yes, yeah, the
Wow.
prophet, yes, yeah,
Mm.
yep.
Yeah.
So I knew then that next day, I said, "Okay, Lord, I'm gonna start writing it." I don't know what I'm gonna do or say, but I'm gonna start writing. I'm gonna be obedient and just start writing it.
That's
So I
all
just
he needs.
started writing.
All he needs you to do. Just be obedient and just write.
Yeah.
Write the
Mhm.
vision. Write it. Write it.
Yeah.
So tell us what is your goal for Survivor, for the people that read it?
I just want people to know that God is a mighty healer. That's it. I don't want no fanfare. I don't care about the money. I don't care about any of that. I don't even
Mm-hmm.
want Keisha Garrett to get any kind of praise. I just want somebody,
Mm-hmm.
anybody. I don't care who it is, to
Hmm.
know that God is a healer. That's it.
That's
That's it.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
because I believe that if somebody knows that, if you can just share it with somebody, who's possibly going through the same situation or a similar situation, when you're going through something like that, it's really, really hard. It's
Hmm.
really, really hard. And then when you're in the chemo room and you're seeing patients who are really, really struggling and they're
Hmm.
just trying to live, I
Right.
mean, it gives you a whole new lease on life, a new, and it was just this one patient. I wish I had gotten her name and her information there, but I just remembered seeing her, and I can tell she was just struggling. She was really, really struggling.
Wow.
It was
Yeah.
several times that I think I saw her that they had turned her away from treatment. You have to be well in order to take chemo treatment for one, okay?
Okay.
And if your blood work is not good, they will deny you treatment, right? Um, and then I recall the last day, I think what did it for me was the last day, my last day of treatment, April 13th. And when I got up to ring that bell, when I got to the bell and I saw her sitting, she was still getting her treatment in. And I just remember seeing the facial expression, the look on her face, like, God, whatever you did for her, just please do it
Right.
for me.
Yeah.
And I remember praying in my mind each time I would see her because I knew people were praying for me. I
Right.
knew that people were bombarding and petitioning heaven. And I'm just like, Lord, whatever you doing for me, take me out the equation right now because I know you got me taken care of. Just do it for her.
Mm-hmm.
You're the same God.
And
So,
that's yeah, and that's what when we go through these things and we
mhm,
show the right attitude and the
mhm,
right that's what happens. It's not always I spoke to a gentleman today, and I revealed something about myself being in ministry, and he said I never would have known it. And he said, that's a good thing. He said, it's always good when you just, are humble and you can just do what you have to. You don't have to announce it to everybody,
no, you don't because it should show on you.
but people will see the difference though. And
Absolutely.
he said, I always knew I could, talk to you and do this and that,
Mhm.
just, being able to be free to deal with
Right,
somebody or whatever, just whatever it
right,
is. If they
right.
watch you and they see how you're going through the trials and tribulations,
Uh-huh.
if they're able to see you, I remember, we both spent some time at Fresh Anointed Cathedral. I remember
Right,
Pastor Mills used to always talk about showing your feelings on wearing your feelings on your sleeve.
right,
you
right.
know,
I remember that. Yes,
and
exactly.
I've done that many, many, many years. But
Mhm.
I'm learning that it's better, and people will see the God in you when you can go through things. And it's not that you're trying to be something that you're not.
Right.
Because transparency can be good in its own time, but then
Mhm.
there's also a time that you need to let the world see Jesus. You need to let the world
Absolutely.
that he
Absolutely.
is the greater power. And despite what you're going through, despite
Mhm.
your weakness, he said, in your weakness, I'll be your strength. And so
Uh-huh.
that's where we have to learn to be. So I appreciate that. That's, yeah, Joy, you remember that, right? We heard it so much.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to. And I remember just being so grateful for the small things doing chemo. And you worked in oncology before, so those nurses, they see everything, and I'm sure it's hard on them as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because they get patients that they get really, really close to and attached to and used to seeing, and um, sometimes everybody's story is not, sometimes healing is not always on this side, you
Right.
know. And if it is on this side, that's a good thing. And if it is not on this side, God is still good, right?
Still
He
good.
doesn't
He's
change.
good. Yeah.
Um, but just being grateful for the small things, just like, they would always ask me, what kind of chocolate candy you want today, Keisha? You want to fix your coffee, things like that. Just so grateful. Because I was able to still maneuver and go in and go out day to day and just do my thing. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. So if you haven't gotten it, we have been talking to Keisha Garrett. She is the author of her new book. Show the cover one more time. So
Survivor, yes. So
oh, no, it's you. Well, you can't miss it because your picture is on it. Go ahead, girl.
and it's available on sale on Amazon. Of course, it's a really really good read. I take my readers through my entire journey. I'm very transparent. I don't hold anything back, so I
Mm.
let them know, which is really really hard for me. Okay, because I'm not a transparent person, but it's really really good. I let them know, what it was like. The course wasn't easy. The race wasn't easy at all. It was very hard, but I accomplished it. I did it. I got through it only because of God.
Amen.
You
Amen.
know, so I
Yeah.
just want readers to see and to share with anybody who they know that's going through anything similar. That they can get through it as well. They can get through it.
Now we have just a few more minutes, so I want to just ask you two questions. Number one, now you have written this book because you want to share the story with others. Did you have anyone that you can go to and talk to that could share that story with you,
To share like
their experience through it while you were going
yes,
through it?
yeah.
Did you have anyone?
So when I first got diagnosed, so my father, my biological father, he passed from cancer. Okay, back in 2001, and
Mm,
his brother, my uncle, actually, he has prostate cancer, and
mm,
he's been stage 4 for about 4 years now.
okay.
So thanks be to God. I mean, so your
Right.
stage does not even matter to God, to be honest with you.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm. Right.
He's doing good. He's working.
Mhm,
He nothing is growing under his feet. And he actually encouraged me. And I remember the first thing that I said to him was, "Why me?" And his
mhm.
response was, "Well, Keisha, why not you?"
Why not you?
He said, "God selected you for this."
Absolutely.
And it didn't make sense then, but
Right.
now it makes sense,
Yeah.
hindsight now.
Yeah.
So I liken myself. I wrote about Job in here in the book of Job, and
Mhm,
how I was just amazed. I kept reading that scripture over and over in the first book of Job, how the devil would just go back and forth,
mhm,
and
mhm,
he just appeared with all the other quarters, in front of God. And
mhm.
God said, "What are you doing here now?" Basically. And he said, "Nothing,
Yeah.
just going back and forth, looking on the earth to see who I can get." Basically, I'm just summing it all up, okay?
Mhm.
And God volunteered Job.
Wow.
Satan
That's
didn't volunteer Job. God volunteered Job. He said, "Have you considered my
because
servant Job?"
because he knew he could handle it.
Exactly. And God only gives you what he know you can handle. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That is
So I just realized, I think that, the purpose for me going through it, God just needed to show somebody, through me, I was a
mhm,
vessel, that he's still a healer. And no matter
okay.
what you're going through, and no matter what kind of cancer it is, he's still the ultimate healer. Now,
Mm,
mind you, I had a dynamic team of doctors. My medical team was awesome, you know. So
that's
But
beautiful.
and even my oncologist recognized that. I went to my oncologist last week for my follow-up visit, just my routine, follow-up. And I showed her the book, and I said, "Well, I have a shipment coming in tomorrow." I said, "Do you mind if not?" Took her my sample. I said, "Do you mind if I bring a copy in to leave inside the treatment room for the patients?" And she was so amazed. She said, "You can actually leave the whole box here, because I want my patients to know that God did it."
Look at God. Now that's amazing right there. That's
That's
amazing.
amazing right there. So that was
I
just
have to go
confirmation. That was another
Yeah,
confirmation.
yeah, yeah. You don't have to go and peddle it on the corner. He gonna give you
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely. Yeah.
your desire was to do it for others. You know what I'm saying? And so
Right.
God's your heart. He saw your desire, and he just worked it right on out. And I was thinking as you were talking earlier, I have a friend that I would like to connect you with who does designs and things like that for
Okay.
women that have endured cancer and mastectomies and things like that. And some of them she does right in the midst of it.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and so there may be others that really is looking for something and someone, and that's why I asked you that question, because a lot of times people don't know who to go to talk to.
They don't. Yeah.
It's easy to talk. You can talk to the doctors.
Right.
That they're gonna tell you this, that, and the other. But I want to hear from the real people. I want to hear from somebody
Absolutely.
that went through what I'm getting ready to go through. Not that it's gonna be the same, but I just want
Yeah.
to hear from somebody.
Well, let me just say that, add to that, the caveat to that, and I see exactly where you're going with that.
Mm-hmm.
I try to keep my talking limited as far as who I talk to,
Right.
because I'm a firm believer you cannot let everybody feed into your spirit. Okay.
Absolutely.
You can't tell
Absolutely.
everybody everything, because some people want a pity party. All right. Some
Yes.
people want to give you all the negative
Absolutely.
Nancy's about what you're going through, and I did not need that. Okay. I didn't need that.
But there are
Everyone who
people
was in
who do
my inner
need
circle,
it. Mhm. But there are a lot of people that do need it.
right. Everyone who
And
was in my inner circle, they only pushed and pulled me. They never, and prime example, if I said something to my mom about, or my cousin about, just griping or whatever about, the length of time or how long it's taken and everything, their response was, okay, are you finished?
right. Yeah. But
So,
that's because you know Jesus. You
right,
know,
yeah.
there's a lot of
And
people out there that don't know Jesus.
another thing that I did also is all the pamphlets and all the information that the hospital gave me, and the nurses, bless their hearts, they're only doing their job. I would
Um,
take all that information, Gwen, and throw it right in the bag. I did not read it, did not look at it. Actually, I did not even open that bag up until I started to write the book. Okay. And
wow.
the reason why is because I wanted to do like a timeline of everything. That's the
Mhm.
only reason why. But I never opened that bag up during that entire time to read anything, because I'm also a believer, what you feed yourself, that's what you're going to be. So if I'm reading all the list of these negative medications that they're giving me, like all the chemo things, and they have like 5 pages of side effects, right? Um, if I read that constantly and entertain that in my mind, then as soon as I have chemo, I'm going to think, oh, I got this, I got that, So it's a mind thing. So therefore, I never once got sick, not once, never gotten sick.
Wow. That's awesome.
Never got sick at all. My
That's
only
awesome.
issue with chemo was fatigue. That was my only side effect that I
Wow.
had.
That's
Fatigue and weight gain. That's it.
that was all God.
That was
That
all God. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Leslie said she kept hearing the scripture, the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus said, I come that you might have life. That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
And life more
Absolutely.
abundantly. Thank you,
Yes.
cousin. I love my
Yes.
cousins.
That's so true, Leslie.
So listen, we are so glad that you joined us on tonight and that you shared part of your story with us. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, go out and get that book. Go out and get that book.
Yes.
Apostle said, "As a man thinketh, so is he." In the mindset was prepared.
Absolutely, Chief Apostle. Absolutely. Yes. You got to think, you can't entertain that.
Mhm.
Because if
And
you
that's why I said,
entertain it,
yeah, but that's why I said, did you have someone? But see, God has allowed you to be that someone for those who don't know about that. Because there's a lot of people that don't know that.
right, right.
They don't know that they need to focus on Jesus. And so God allowed you to write this book. And
Mhm.
so, and it's not, and I want to say, I know the book is you're probably talking about your cancer diagnosis, but really that really goes with anything. That
Right,
goes
exactly.
with anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. That's what I was talking about in the beginning. Jesus came, he died on the cross, and we always say, by his stripes, we are
We are
healed.
healed.
So those
Absolutely.
stripes were for every sickness. Those stripes
That's
were for
right.
every disease. Those stripes
Yep.
were for every person that
Hmm.
would accept, the healing that he gave to us. And so
Absolutely.
I love it.
And
I
just
love
and one more thing to that, it really it's not even about just healing. It
it.
could be because I discuss in the book, job loss,
Mm-hmm.
you can family situations,
Hmm.
divorce, unemployment,
Right,
everything. It's
right.
this
Absolutely.
he's still the same God that heals and fixed all of that.
He
Yeah.
is.
He
That's
fixes all of that.
that's
So
so. I believe that you gave a lot of encouragement, but just one final encouraging word to
mhm.
someone out there who's going through a process right now, whether it's cancer, whether it's coronavirus, or as you said, one of those situations. Just a final thought for them.
My thought is just that I've been saying this since day one. God is a healer of all of it. He can
Hmm.
fix it all. Yeah. He
Yeah.
fixes it all. So, and you have to consider your situation. My cousin broke this down to me when I was going through my moment, literally. She said, you have to consider yourself pregnant. All right. So you go through 9 months of pregnancy, right? And
Hmm.
you're pregnant with purpose. In the
Hmm.
physical realm, you're pregnant with the child, right?
Right. Right.
When you have that child after 9 months, even with all the labor, the epidural and everything, the back pains and everything you go through, the first 3 months of vomiting and can't keep anything on your
Right.
stomach, nothing like even not air. You can't keep anything on your stomach, literally. You're pregnant with purpose with a child. So in the spiritual realm, with sickness such as cancer or any type of illness like that, especially with me going through cancer, I had to consider myself pregnant with purpose. And my
Mm.
purpose was this. I pushed
Yeah.
it out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
My labor pains was
Because you.
going through chemo, going
Yeah.
through radiation, going through surgery. Those are my labor pains right there.
All right.
I
Yeah.
slept my entire time away like a pregnant woman, literally, okay, doing chemo. And this
Mhm.
was my purpose.
Wow.
So
That's
you got to
all
push. You
right.
just got to push.
And find your purpose.
You got to
So,
push through it, no matter how it look like, no matter what they saying, what they're saying, whether it's job loss or anything, sickness, it could be COVID, anything. You just still have to just push through it
push
and
through it.
keep the faith.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies and
Thank you
gentlemen.
for having me. And go
Yes,
out, get the book, please. If you don't
yes,
want it to read it, just get it for somebody else. Get it and share it with somebody else.
share it with somebody else.
Yeah, please just share it with somebody else.
Mhm,
Because that way, God will get all the glory for it. And that person will realize that God is a healer.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, Leslie said thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you so much for joining, Leslie. And thank you to everyone who chimed in. Joy, I see Chief Apostle chimed in. So thank you so much.
you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. We are just excited to see you all here with us on today. And thank you so much, Keisha.
Absolutely.
I'll be back to see you soon.
Absolutely. And so the good thing about it is I had surgery recently, and the caveat to that, which is not included in the book, is as a breast cancer survivor, you are able to get your breasts redone.
Oh,
So I got a lift. And radiation causes you to lose shrinkage in the breast, okay, because of the tissue.
mhm,
So I did what's called a fat transfer. So, those that's another thing. That's probably a whole nother book right there, because survivors need to know that they do
yeah,
have plenty of benefits that's eligible
right.
to them to take advantage of. So
Mhm.
I'm doing
That's
great. Everything is good. So
Awesome. Yeah, when I had the last young lady on who had breast cancer, I told this story, but it's always so funny to me when I worked at Patient First. A lady came in, and I'm the kind of nurse that I believe in giving people their privacy. So
Okay.
when when I'm doing their EKG, I always try to cover them up, or a bath or whatever. I try to cover
Right.
them in their spots. And she said, "See my new breasts?" And I was like, uh,
She was
and
excited.
was excited. And I was like,
Yes.
cover you up, lady. And she just wanted,
I
she said, no.
understand.
She said,
I
no, I don't want to cover them up. She said, I am so
Yes.
happy and
Don't
I'm
be
so
ashamed.
proud.
I
And so, yeah,
understand. Listen, I understand because it puts your confidence back in, you know?
absolutely,
It just a whole different, it just gives you that
right.
confidence back. So it's like I'm lifted now.
Yeah. So Sabrina said that could be volume 2 to your story. Come on.
Absolutely, absolutely, Sabrina. Absolutely. That's
Survivor's
book number 2. People need to know that they have those options and you can
options.
take advantage of it because the insurance companies, they just letting it go to waste if you don't take advantage of it, So
They don't want you using their money.
they don't want you using their money, but you better use it while you can. If you have to pay for it, you better go ahead and use it.
Thank you so much once again. Ladies, thank you all for joining
My
us and
pleasure. Thank you, ladies.
chimed in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. She says she's waiting for the second book.
Yes, I'm going to get working on that. I received that. Thank you.
So listen, we'll be back with some more great testimonies and some more. I see some people actually even on this thread that's talking and said,
Wow.
you know that I believe that is they have such stories to tell. So you'll be
Right.
hearing more of these stories because women need to know some of the things that we do go through and some of the things, like you said, the options that are available to us, or
Absolutely. They
just
do.
how to go through, just how to go through.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Is bad enough, but when you learn how to go through properly, then you have such a much better experience in what you're doing, or knowing that there's people around you that's praying for you and that's there to push you on. So,
Absolutely.
again, thank you, and I love you, and you have
Love
your
you more.
wonderful day. I'll be talking to you soon, and I've already. I went in and I ordered my book, and I don't know what happened. So I think I got to go back and finish the order. I think I put it in my
Okay.
cart. Never
Well,
went back.
just let me know when you get it and I'll be glad to sign it for you. So, yeah,
I know where you are, so I'm coming to get my
I know
autograph.
you are.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you so
Thank you.
much.
Thanks everyone for chiming in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us today. Thank you for all of our live viewers, our replay viewers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I also want to say thank you to all of those that supported us with the Spill Tea virtual retreat. We're still basking in the greatness of that event. Thank you all for joining us. And we're going to be having so much more going on. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Don't get disconnected. Just look out for more to come. All right, ladies, love you all. You have a wonderful evening. Meet us back here next Monday and tell your friends and your family. Also, guess what? You can still share this video. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook. Share, 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 and let your friends know about this great story today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful evening.